Alright, I've been putting off doing this video for a while. It is after dark and after hours. But I wanted to do like a 4-month update on the TechShack. So we have Starlink out here. It has been excellent. It has been consistently 175 to 300 megabit. Very rarely ever dipping below that, even in inclement weather. And then our CPE here that feeds the house has also been very reliable. I haven't had to reset it at all in the 4 months we've been here, but the previous models that I use, they're 300 megabit 5 gigahertz models, also ran for years without issues, so I wasn't really expecting a problem there. Alright, I'll leave that on. You cannot see still. Alright, so Ring camera's been up for a while. Yes, I know there are better options. Yes, I know I should go self-hosted, but it's the only one I have. It is just for the business, and it was $30 and $3 a month. I can't really, I couldn't build anything anywhere near that. So let's go on inside. Alright, so in every corner I have these little tiki lights that I painted orange, remove the actual fuel tanks, and put in puck lights. We'll turn, ooh, the big one's on. That's super bright, and they do not like to be filmed, at least not with this crappy cell phone. But we got 12,000 lumens, however you pronounce it, on the ceiling. As you see, I finally put insulation in. This is the rolled kind with the foil on the other side, so it might not be the best for holding heat in, but it kept heat out all winter and all summer, and with the aid of the air conditioner, kept this place nice and cool in here. So we will start here. This is my 4-year-old's workstation, Parker. She used to have a Pi 400 sitting here, but that was a hand-me-down from her older sister. And like family tradition, she was upgraded to an Optiplex. So she has an i5 4590, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and an RX 550. Not as good as her sister's i5 6500 and RX 6400 that her 8-year-old and 10-year-old older sister have. But for a 4-year-old, I'm sure this is more than adequate. Heater I still have yet to install. First workbench. For those who didn't see the last video, I have actually 50 amps to 220 coming in here, but I reduced it down to 30 amps. So I do have a little bit more room, but I haven't popped any breakers, so I don't see any reason to expand. At least not yet. Printer down there I've had for 12 years. And my air compressor. And at every workstation I have these little hooks set up. So there is VGA, HDMI, network card, power, and then USB to run to the dongle for a wireless keyboard and mouse. And then I have DVI and DisplayPort adapters, so each workbench can plug into just about anything without any issues. I even have mini DisplayPort adapters somewhere around here. And then the main workstation. So I have an old workbench monitor I added here because my secondary monitor was this portable screen here. I had it in portrait mode, but it fell off the desk. And which end is it? This end here. Destroyed an HDMI port because the cable was still connected and it fell and landed right on the port. So I put that up there temporarily. I am going to swap that out with a 27-inch 1440p, so I can sit back on the couch and watch TV out here if I want to after hours when the shop's closed. And then my 1440p ultra-wide Samsung is on a full motion mount. And then the biggest upgrade, I have finally gotten rid of V1 Xeon as my daily driver. So I am in Ryzen. It's still not new Ryzen because it is a used Ryzen 2600 processor, but everything else, the 32 gigabytes of RAM. It did come, the bundle I got did come with an RX 560 that was brand new, but that went into my bottom server because I have an RX 5600 XT from my main workstation that went in here when this became my daily along with its storage. So, and then of course I got the soundbar, the blue microphone I've had forever in multiple Homelabs, my keyboard and mouse. It's a generic mechanical and a Logitech, what, G2, whatever this one is there, the G502 Hero. And then right on top here, on top of my main workstation. So this was my main workstation. Now it is mainly my data recovery workstation. So the Optiplex that was here is now my 4-year-old's daily. So I have 2 HSGT Enterprise drives in RAID 1. I use that, for doing data backup and recovery services for storage if a client doesn't actually have the new device it's going to yet or storage media to go to yet. I can start the recovery process and have enough storage for most people. E5 2690 V1, 32 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 11, and then also a persistent install of part of Magic OS depending on which tools I'm using. And underneath it is my server, E5 2690 V3, and 32 gigabytes of RAM, or 64 gigabytes of RAM currently. I had it at 128, but that was overkill and I used the RAM for another project. I am going to swap that out with a V4 processor, and so I will have dedicated videos opening up both of these. And then around the side here, or bottom rather, I have my 2.5 gigabit switch, double-sided tape with extreme Gorilla double-sided adhesive. So they're taped together and then taped to the bottom of this wood, so there's still a decent gap underneath there to run cables and ventilation. So there's a 2.5 gig switch and then a 1 gig switch underneath it. I did used to run this one here, but I never filled it up, and so I'm just going to stick it over here for future projects. So, speaking of future projects, we have one of these guys. I know I'm a terrible camera person. Still haven't broke the seal. So I got this. Along with the same keyboard and mouse, because Walmart was actually clearancing out the white ones and the blue ones for $5 a piece, and I bought a whole bunch. So I still had some more of these. So I'm doing this, this, and this in a DIY all-white case with a 240mm AIO and an all-white motherboard. So that will probably be the next video you see on the channel, unless some of the stuff from AliExpress hasn't arrived yet before I do something else. But yeah, that is pretty much the TechShack. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I got my insurance certificate, my business license up there, along with my old Geek Squad badge. And my TP-Link access point up there. I am going to leave the tarps. I finished everything out except for around this door. I still got to get another pallet to finish doing that around the door. So I am going to leave the tarps. I am going to switch something out though for the peaks in the ceiling. But there's 4-inch fiberglass insulation. The walls, it stayed nice and cool all summer, and it's going to stay nice and warm all winter. So really, at this point, wood over the walls is just aesthetics. And I'm pretty well settled here that unless I win the lottery, I don't see the point in going through everything and moving everything out and changing everything when it's not going to make it any warmer in here or any cooler. So that is it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.